What is law? Law is a system of rules and guidelines that are used to regulate the life of the people. Laws help in enforcing discipline in the society. Without laws, there would be a chaos and everybody would want to do things their own way. So it is important for the ruling authority to regulate the lives of the people through some laws. But laws should be equal for everybody, people living in a society, man or woman, rich or poor, upper class or subordinate class, should be equally bound by the laws and should face equal punishment if they violate the laws. This equality before law is important for achieving the ideal of rule of law. Impact of colonial rule on tribal life. Prior to the colonial rule, the tribal societies had lived in relative isolation for hundreds of years. Colonial rule threw a deep impact on the tribal societies of India. As the colonial rule expanded, the social and cultural life of these people underwent several changes. Many previously unadministered tribal areas were brought under the control of the British. Outsiders who had not been keen to go into these areas previously could do so under the protection of the colonial state. With commercialization of land, expansion of cultivation, and demand for cash revenues, outsiders settled down in tribal areas. As a result, large tracts of tribal land were transferred to non-tribal outsiders. The tribal people were practically deprived of all rights. While in principle, the colonial state followed a policy of non-intervention in tribal matters, the colonial laws and rules worked against such benevolent desires. The making of new laws. The changing nature of the society raises the need for new laws. It is important that a government is sensitive to the needs of the people with the changing socio-economic scenario and adopts new laws and modifies the existing ones. Since every citizen of the country is bound by the same law, the government has to be extra cautious while framing laws. A particular law might be beneficial for one group of people, but it might be against the interests of some other groups of people. In such a situation, the government has to modify certain provisions of the law so that it does not lead to unnecessary tensions in any community. Laws and public opinion. Often different groups in society raise the need for a particular law. They campaign through the media, such as television and newspapers, to generate public opinion. Public opinion is the opinion of the people. In a democracy, the government is formed by the representatives of the people. So it is important that they take into account the opinion of the people. If they are convinced that a new law is necessary for the benefit of the society, the process of framing laws gets started. Public opinion and the media play a significant role in the framing of new laws. The strength of a democracy lies in respecting the opinion of the people. The policies of the government are constantly affected by people's opinion. Public opinion controls and checks the government from becoming irresponsible. The government is also conscious about not going against the wishes of the people while framing laws, because the same people might not vote them back to power in the next elections if the government frames too many unpopular laws. So, for the government, it is of utmost importance to attach priority to public opinion. However, sometimes the government is forced to take some strong decisions and pass unpopular or controversial laws which might be beneficial for one section of the society, which might be essential for preserving peace in the society. Public protests against such laws might also be curbed by strong measures, even by using police force. While the government has to give importance to public opinion, it also needs to maintain discipline and order in the society, and thus sometimes is forced to take strong decisions even at the cost of becoming unpopular. The enactment of new law, right to education. Education is of utmost importance for the progress of any country. When India gained independence, the state of education in the country was very poor. The government established the University Education Commission and the Secondary Education Commission to modernize the education system. In 1961, the National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCERT, was formed. It advises the union and state governments on education policies. The first national policy on education, NPE, in 1968 called for ensuring compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14. It also called for equalization of educational opportunity, especially for women, scheduled tribes, and scheduled castes. To achieve this, scholarships, adult education, recruitment of more teachers from the marginalized communities, incentives for sending children to school regularly, and new institutions were developed. The government has continuously realized the need for educating the masses, especially the children. Illiteracy will make the children more prone to unlawful activities. In the 1990s, the government adopted the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Education for All movement, a program aimed at the universalization of elementary education so that free education to children aged 6 to 14 becomes a fundamental right. Finally, in 2009, Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act, or Right to Education, RTE Act, was enacted by the Parliament. The Act came into effect on 1st April 2010. It asserts the importance of free and compulsory education for children between 6 and 14 years of age in India. Right to education has also become a fundamental right. The Act also outlines specific responsibilities of the centre, state and local bodies for its implementation. For further information on RTE, you can visit http://righttoeducation.in/